So let me take you back on Tuesday. All right, Sean popped out to meet a wonderful man. He's called David, and he's finished his apprenticeship and becoming a personal trainer. He's 60. All right, he chose to give up his corporate career and retrain, and it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time. It's about how do you start something when you're over the age of 50, and I only plucked 50 out of the air is a time. Whether you make that decision yourself and you go, right, I've had that career in whatever, like David was in business and commerce, and you go and do something else. But what have you made redundant? What happens if your world implodes in you and you've got to go and look for work? What is it like changing that career after 50-year-old? And yes, I spoke to Simon, who's working as a clinical nurse after he worked as a handyman in a bingo hall, and he moved on. And today, I want to introduce you to Catherine. Now, I've known Catherine for a lot of years, but not for what she's doing now in another circle of life. And Catherine now wants to be a menopause mentor after a career in PR. Her story is so fascinating. Have a listen to this.
Here I am at 52, just turned 52, and I've been in PR for a number of years in different capacities, running my own business, dealing mainly with hotels, B2C, driving footfall, building brands and reputation, which I'm still really passionate about, I hasten to add. However, COVID hit 2 years ago, as we know. Everything was closed down, accounts were halted, etc. And basically, I thought, right, I'm going to have to do something else. I thought, well, wait, see however COVID moves on, sort of in 2020. It went from 3 weeks of lockdown to here you are, nearly 2 years of, yes, things have obviously reopened quite a bit, but on the back of this, and I'll go back to when I was 38, but I've only recently just discovered this with all my research and training. I was going through what's called the perimenopause. Now, we know that menopause is a massive subject, still a very, very long way to go, but the tide is slowly turning. And basically, I was suffering massively with anxiety and bleeding problems and all things associated, brain fog, the lot. And, just thought, it's one of those things, got on with it. I think I visited the doctors back in, I was early 40s. And again, you're too early. And, we just sort of rattle on. And this is all whilst I'm working and I'm self-employed. So on the plus side, I had no one to answer to of like ringing in sick or going, I really don't feel up to it today or this week. On the other hand, you've got clients and you've got a living to earn. So it's really important to get that balance right. So basically, I just meandered on and did my best. And like I say, going back to COVID, that's when it really halted. And I thought, right, something has to change here. So fast forward to January 2022, and the penny absolutely dropped. It was like an epiphany. I think for so long I had been feeling like imposter syndrome. Well, what else do I know? This is, if I've never been employed apart from my family business, which was, late 80s, early 90s. Apart from that, I've always done my own thing. Like I say, January of this year, an absolute epiphany. I'd been feeling so rough again, so many symptoms. Knowing the HRT levels obviously weren't right. Being on the 5th HRT schedule, etc. And, did dry January, ditched dairy, just thought, right, I really have to address something. And in that clarity came the idea of, I want to help other women in this position on a personal level, in a workplace level, a relationship level. It affects all areas of their lives, as I well know, as well as, so many of the things, their well-being, their mental health, so many areas. And it's very difficult for men to understand. If I was a man, I wouldn't understand. I don't understand a lot. And I'm a woman going, having gone through it. But like I say, the tide is slowly turning, and the more people that obviously go down this route and the more awareness, let's really get out there and help. But like I say, going back to changing careers, which is the subject of the matter, this has been a long, long time in the making. A lot of my contacts and colleagues, I've had this conversation with over the years, again, before COVID, thinking the universe is throwing things at me, in my career, going, this isn't your long-term, career, something has to change. And I do honestly believe I've had to go on my journey to do it. And you know what, Gary? Being full of imposter syndrome or whatever, over the years, I just know it's in my gut feeling this is where I'm meant to be and what I'm doing. So I'm doing something with the Menopause School, which was just recently launched in October. And that's with a doctor who works closely with the British Menopause Society. And it's very brand new. There is no other school in the country that assists people with doing menopause courses, unless you were a doctor or a nurse.
That is unbelievable. Because I'm going to go back to a little bit what you said, where you went for a job interview, probably one of the first interviews in your life, and you were told you're too qualified, you're too experienced. It's a trap, isn't it? Because you work all your life to get experience, and when you get that experience, they don't want that experience as employers.
Absolutely. And I felt rubbish. I didn't feel, I'm too good for them. I thought, the wage wasn't, all that great or whatever. And I just thought, what's wrong with me? Of course, we want validation, don't we? We want to be made to feel valuable and wanted. So the fact that I knew I was overqualified didn't actually help in that situation.
That's bizarre, absolutely bizarre. But what I love that you've done, you've taken your experience of what you've gone through, because we don't talk about the menopause, do we? This is what we do as families. We turn our face away and we don't talk about. We don't know exactly how it affects our family dynamic. Is this where you're going to come in to be able to talk to maybe workplaces and talk to families to see if we can open those conversations and be open and free about it?
Absolutely. I haven't even launched the business. I haven't even got the logo. I just literally posted last week saying, this is what I'm doing, logo and launch coming soon. And you'd be amazed at the inquiries I've had from big workplaces, which wasn't really, as such on my radar. I've still got, all the X, Y's and Z's to sort out. But it just, again, further identifies what I already know. There is so much more help needed out there for, to support personal, individuals, workplaces, even men, the wives, the partners suffering. There is so much more needed. And I'm just so passionate to be able to be just one tiny cog in a massive menopause wheel that hopefully can make a difference to many people's lives.
Because you're using your skill set of because I know what you've done, the way that you help to build businesses and to build footfall and build awareness of businesses. You're taking that experience from the PR, the marketing side and putting it into a subject that we don't talk about. It's a transferable skill, but that penny just dropped with you in January. You thought, I can do this.
Honestly, Gary, I can't tell you the epiphany, and I can't tell you the exact second or moment. It was just like, that's what I'm going to do. And I've literally been learning, researching. I've also signed up for a course that can take anywhere from 9 to 18 months, actually. And it's a functional wellness course, because, again, I don't want to be a certain person that, wins a career. I want to know the ins and outs. I want to know the dynamics of hormones, the stress hormones, all sorts of blood sugars. There are so many factors. It's not just the drop in estrogen or progesterone. There are so many factors. And how is us as Joe Public meant to know this when the symptoms start? And especially when many GPs don't actually understand the menopause, because it's not mandatory training for them at medical school. Can you believe that?
That is unbelievable. And the more we talk about it, the more that we can understand it, and it may unlock a lot of problems that people have within relationships that they didn't think was down to the menopause.
This is exactly. Go back 100 years or so, women were thrown away the key and locked up in asylums, and that was because of the menopause. I'm sure there was other symptoms, maybe some had mental health problems, schizophrenia, whatever, but we now know that the ones that really suffering, there's about a third that I believe that really have debilitating symptoms. Nearly 1 million women in the UK have had to give up work because they just can't cope. And I know for a fact I would have been one of them had I not been self-employed and been able to navigate my own diary and clients, etc. If I had to do a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday job at a desk in an office with a boss, there is no way I could have done that with the fatigue, the brain fog, anxiety at times. Horrendous.
How do you feel in yourself, Catherine, now that you've taken that leap? Because it is a big leap. It's because it's ever so easy just to plough on and just do what you do because you've always done it. Do you feel enlightened in yourself that you've taken control again back of your life?
Oh my goodness! I can't begin to say. People have not recognised me as in friends and family, and they just think it's marvellous because I've just got this passion, this real fire in my belly, which, like I say, I always had for clients. But it's a different ball game. This is a momentous time for women have always suffered with the menopause, but this just feels a momentous time to be able to train and to be able to reach out and help people. So that fire in my belly is just burning bright at the moment.
Well, look, I tip my cap here, and I think you're absolutely fantastic. Real inspiration to anyone who wants to follow their dream and their passion. Can we follow your story as you progress on as a practitioner?
Absolutely, I'd be delighted, and thank you for asking. Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
I love you to bits. You know that, and I think you're just one of life's amazing people, and you meet so many people in your life that make an impact and a mark on, and you're one of them, Catherine. So thank you.
Oh, Gary, too kind, and ditto. It's been a pleasure talking, and like I say, knowing you for so long, you've been marvellous. Thank you.
And that's what it's all about, getting those stories out there, and Catherine's story is a one of discovery. I know it sounds a bit cliche, doesn't it? But, when you finally find out why you were feeling, how you were feeling, and you then want to help others, I think that's a special thing, isn't it? It's a special skill. If you want to help others and say, look, I've gone through that. This is how I coped. How can I help you? And you can pull yourself along.